Okay, now we have our 8 HSTs. They're about 4 7/8. We need them to be 4 1/2. So what I'll do is I'll go and square them up to size, and then we can start sewing them into place. We're almost done, so hang in there. Okay, I didn't show you the sewing from the beginning, so I'll just point it out here. What you do is you start with your fabric A, which is a square measuring 6 1/2 inches. Then you add on 2 ends here, which are 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So here's our seam. And then you add the 2 sides on, and they measure 4 1/2 by 14 1/2. Next, what I'll be doing is I'll be constructing another border that goes around here, but this will also be using the HSTs that we just made 8 up. So let me just get some other fabric organized and I'll be right back. Next up, we want to join to the sides with 2 of the HSTs. So these are 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. I'm going to call this fabric D, and then you're going to join it so that the darker colors are facing up, and you're going to make 2 sets like that. So you'll do a 1/4 inch seam here, and then on the other set the same thing, here and here. Okay, those blocks we just created are strips with HSTs. We're now going to sew them on opposite sides of our main center block. So sewing here and then here. This is where you need to watch your 1/4 inch just to make sure that you're maintaining it. I will get those done and be right back. Next up, we're going to construct the last 2 sides. They will be mirror image to each other. So you're going to take your 2 corners, which are 4 1/2 inch square, half square triangle, 4 1/2 by 6 1/2 border, and then the reverse, another half square triangle and another 4 1/2 inch square. So I'll sew those together, then I'll join it on this edge, and then I'll do the other for the opposite side. Okay, this is what it looks like constructed. It's basically a very large churn dash. So now what we're going to do is do that all over again by making another one. So I will be back here when I get that done. Okay, I'm back. I have 2 identical blocks made. It took me about 45 minutes to do the second one. I did have a couple turned around, so I had to rip them out, but that's what we have to do sometimes. Okay, the next step is we're actually going to draw a line through the intersections, and you can do it piece by piece here. So corner to corner on each block. You may need to grab a couple different kinds of markers depending on what color fabric you've used. This is just going to be a reference line for now. If you have something that is removable, that works great. I'm just going to use my soap sliver. So I'm just going to draw here and then there and then this. So from corner to corner here, and then up to the other end here, and then there. And then going the other direction, we'll do the same thing. So again, wherever there's a corner to corner, we're going to be making a reference line. And what we'll do is we'll do that on both the blocks. For right now, I'm just going to show you on one. Okay, so that's done. And then what we'll do is we'll take this to the sewing machine and we will stitch on either side of that line about 1/8 of an inch. You don't want to be 1/4 of an inch because it would end up showing in the finished piece once we're finished doing what we're going to do. So just to summarize, you draw from corner to corner, and then on each side of this line you're going to stitch it about 1/8 of an inch away. It doesn't have to be perfectly 1/8. You just don't want it wider than 1/4 of an inch. And what this is just going to be stitching to help it from stretching when we do our next couple steps. So let me go do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so I got both of these blocks cross sewn both ways, so you can see that, and there's my reference line. So now the fun part is we're actually going to cut these. Sounds scarier than it really is, but again, from each corner to corner you're going to line up and make sure that you're cutting in between where you just did the stitching, or else it's going to distort. So I'll try to get this as good as you can. So like that. And then moving along. It's easier if you just do block area by area instead of trying to do the whole thing at once, because that's when it can get messed up. And moving down. Almost there. This last part is the tricky bit because it has distorted a little bit, so I'm just gonna manipulate it a little bit before cutting it. There we go. So now we have 2 halves, and we're actually going to turn these around and cut down here as well. So I'll do this, I'll get the other block cut, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, I have both blocks cut apart. They're in 4 pieces. So now what we're going to do is actually take these and start turning them around. So what I'm going to do for my reference is I'm going to put the white or the creamy color together. That's one. And then the other one, I'll do the same thing. And it actually makes like a butterfly looking picture or resemblance. So choices, you can either sew them together like this, or if you're worrying about intersections, you can actually add a strip of contrast fabric going through where the cuts are, which is what I'm going to do. So let me figure that out, and then I will show you what I come up with. I have the other 4 as well, which will get turned around, and this makes a really awesome table runner. So I'll show you what it looks like in a little bit. Thank you. Okay, I'm just showing you, I'm putting the sashing on, and this is going to be right sides together with this going here. And to line up the vertical sashing, what I do is I actually line up the ruler and then I make a mark, and I do that on the other side. So when I go to line this up, all I'm doing is I'm matching this seam to this mark up here, and then I pin out going towards the edges. I hope that helps you.